This is Virgil Ortiz, and you're watching REED-BBS.
REED-BBS, BBS. Francis Ngannou, the most interesting heavyweight in the world. So there's options aplenty for Francis Ngannou. Oh, by the way, this is the Tyson Fury Francis Ngannou Part 3 video. At this point, you're probably like, God damn, how many episodes of this shit can there be? Well, I really don't know. So you'll just have to bear with me as I continue to feed you some of this FURY-NGANNOU material. That's how we get down. But yeah, there's options aplenty for Ngannou on both sides of the combative sports fence. Now, many of you have heard, he's the former UFC heavyweight champion. He's no longer in UFC because of the greed of the UFC president, Dana White. Dana White did not want Francis to box at all, and their contract negotiations broke down to the point he told Francis to kick rocks, stripped him of the title, blah, blah, blah. That's the end of that story. Francis is currently signed to Professional Sports League, PFL, who they just want his name recognition, basically giving him free reign to box, do whatever the hell he wants to do. And yes, on the heels of the Fury fight, Dana White looks like an ass for not co-signing on Francis's boxing exploits, which he should have. I mean, he let Conor McGregor box, and even though McGregor got stopped by Floyd, it didn't hinder McGregor's appeal at all. Same thing would have been the case with Francis and UFC, but again, you can chalk that up to the greed of Dana White. But yeah, as an aside, Francis, there's this myth that he had no inclination to box until the Fury fight came up. And while it's true that Francis had never had a professional boxing match or an amateur boxing match for that matter, he actually started out his pursuit in combat sports wanting to box. His father was a famous street fighter in Africa, in Cameroon, a street fighter in Cameroon. So Francis wanted to box. And in his pursuit of boxing, he found MMA. There's this misnomer that he basically had never had a boxing glove on until the Fury fight. Yeah, that's not true. He was pursuing boxing, which is why you could see some level of boxing acumen in the fight. But get into the boxing options that Francis has aplenty. I mean, there's a rematch with Tyson Fury that's always out there. It's a fight with Usyk, who has the other 3 heavyweight titles. There's Bad Build Andy out there. Andy Ruiz, former heavyweight champion, first Mexican heavyweight champion. And of course, promoters gonna promote. You know how that is. So Eddie Hearn, Matchroom promoter, the man, the face of the zone here in America, he's already talking about Ngannou versus Anthony Joshua. Not only that, Hearn is talking about them fighting in Africa on some Rumble in the Jungle, Ali Foreman 2 type of shit. It's a good idea, but here's the thing. There's one man that we all want to see Francis Ngannou in a boxing ring with. Bomb Squad! Deontay fucking Wilder. And like the rest of us, Francis Ngannou, he forced Malik Scott to take him more serious. He forced Malik Scott to sit his ass up in that chair after watching Ngannou drop Tyson Fury in round 3. Scott, of course, is the trainer of the aforementioned Deontay Wilder. Ngannou versus Wilder, it has to happen. Simply put, it has to happen. We're talking the biggest, baddest heavyweight slugfest since George Foreman versus Ron Lyle in Ring Magazine's Fight of the Year from 1976. Let me give you a little historical perspective. Foreman, he came into the Lyle fight with a record of 40 wins, 1 loss, 37 KOs. He had just lost the heavyweight championship of the world to Muhammad Ali, Foreman had. Ron Lyle came into the Foreman fight with a record of 33 wins, 3 losses, or 31 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, and 22 KOs. Now, Lyle, he was a certified roughneck. My man spent 7.5 years in prison before getting into boxing. In boxing, his losses coming into the Foreman fight were to Ali, to Jimmy Young, and to Jerry Quarry. So ding, the bell rings. Lyle tried to sneak Foreman right out the gate with a big-ass looping right hand. At the end of the first, he hurt Foreman. Foreman hurt Lyle in the second round. Third round, they were kind of gathering, recapturing their breath. You know, these are 2 heavyweights throwing bombs, so they had to catch their breath. Fourth round might be the greatest boxing round ever. People talk about Hagler-Hearns round 1. Please watch, and I'm playing bits of it for you now in this video. Please watch Foreman-Lyle round 4. Lyle drops Foreman. It looks like Foreman is on the verge of getting stopped. Foreman then drops Lyle, who got a little too greedy, a little too fat, going for the kill. Foreman dropped him. Then before the end of round 4, Lyle drops Foreman yet again. This is as badly hurt as you'll ever see George Foreman. Like, he was saved by the bell. Like fucking Screech or somebody. Saved by the bell in the 4th. He probably would have got knocked out if not for that. Like, Foreman laying on the side, his face and shit. Ass all up in the air. As badly hurt as you'll ever see him. And with all that said, Foreman gets up, saved by the bell in the 4th, and he 10 counts Ron Lyle in the 5th round. That's the shit I'm talking about. That's the type of shit Ngannou and Wilder can provide to boxing. It is must-see TV, and it's a certified title fight. Now, you're probably saying, well, hold up, motherfucker. You just said that Ngannou was stripped of his UFC title, and this ain't no MMA shit. And he didn't beat Fury for Fury's belt because it was a non-title fight anyway. And Wilder ain't got no title. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm talking the title, hardest puncher in all of combat sports. Whoever wins this fight, number 1 is going to be by KO. So just like UFC got the BMF title, they need to come up with hardest puncher in all of combat sports title for Ngannou versus Wilder. And oh, by the way, Malik Scott let it be known they're already negotiating. So they ain't gonna let this one marinate, motherfuckers. They ain't gonna let this one marinate. And if you need to rewatch my Fury-Ngannou Fallout Part 2 video to see the downside of marinating, please feel free to do so. But yeah, Francis Ngannou versus Deontay Wilder. Let's make it happen. 20 and 24. REED-BBS, BBS. Blackbird Sugar, Bachelor's in Boxing Studies. Television! Fred Sanford of the Fistic Arts. When all is said and done, there's nothing left to say